Please remember to like and subscribe for more fanfics. Enjoy.
This is stupid. We regret everything. By BurntOutNgl. I want to say before continuing this audio reading that I do not own this story. Please check the description to find the story summary and support BurntOutNgl, the original author on AO3. Chapter 13. Dazai noticed the way Chuya's body language shifted from annoyance to mild anger. He felt a sense of dread rise within himself. The brunette hadn't even realized how he stopped paying attention to the conversation around him. "Dazai, are you okay?" Uraraka asked innocently. "Yeah, I'm fine." The mask of a good doer was easy to fake. It's an act Dazai had to commit to multiple times, and this situation was beneficial. Since 1, this group is closest to Izuku, and getting closer to the green-haired kid was a good priority to have, especially when his relationship with All Might may provide more intel. "Are you worried about Chuya?" "Don't worry. That group is used to handling peeps with anger problems." A full smirk spawned on Dazai's face, but his eye looked blank. Anger problems? Tilting his head, he could tell the others felt uncomfortable with him now. Perhaps it was a small error in his way of thinking. "Yes, we watched how he is around you, and he always has an agitated expression, like Bakugo." Iida tried to explain, but Dazai's expression darkened deeper. "Oh, and if you saw how he got onto Mineta, you would understand though, that sounds rude to say since you're both friends." Now Uraraka tried to deepen the explanation. Officially, they're basing this off of superficial interactions. "No wonder they have his suicidal ass over here. Chuya doesn't have anger problems. And I'd like it if you didn't compare him to the angry Pomeranian of the class," was all the brunette said. The lanky teen, while prone to joking about the gnome, doesn't know how he feels about labeling him an angry person. Especially when they're basing it off of the kid who seriously needs to talk to a therapist about his anger and superiority complex that borders on inferiority. Yes, Chuya can be combative, but that's only when he's riled up. He's not yelling at folk for being in his vicinity, or making rude remarks to show how superior he is to others, unlike Bakugo. Most importantly, they've mischaracterized him so badly, and off of superficial conversations. Dazai will admit that he isn't some ball of sunshine. Yes, he can put up a mask as quickly as the Flash. But that's all it will ever be, a mask. Dazai isn't sure if he'll ever be a ball of sunshine for the mere factor that emotions are like a void to him. The more he tried to feel them, the emptier he felt. Is that normal? No. He knows that he isn't normal, and he knows he'll never be normal. But Dazai isn't planning to fix his situation. Perhaps he'll help Chuya out a bit. He won't remove him from the group. They do seem like the fun bunch Chuya will be able to get along with. If only they stopped talking about whatever it was making the ginger look like he was about to explode, and remove the anger problems off of his back. Taking in a good look at his classmates' faces, they looked a tad embarrassed. Maybe it is embarrassing to characterize someone in one way, only to have someone close to them say, "You're wrong." Dazai wouldn't know. He's never bad at characterization. "Ah, well." Uraraka started, only to close her mouth. "But I'd like to know why you think I'm a good fit for this group." Dazai tilted his head, a look of innocent curiosity on display, and they fell for it. "Well, you're always seen joking about with Chuya, but you're also incredibly smart. We've overheard you helping Chuya with training homework in the common area before, and the way you explained things to him made everything confusing make sense. Ah, so it's based off of how smart I am. But Dazai doesn't see Yaoyorozu over here. No, she's sitting with her own group, chatting away. No, it's more personality-based. Everyone here just has a sense of humor that I fit well into, perhaps. Maybe they're basing it off of Midoriya's and Bakugo's rivalry?" Dazai nodded, accepting the answer. "Oh, and are you going to finish eating your soup? You've barely touched it," Iida asked, concern lacing his voice. Why were people concerned? His appetite wasn't a huge one, it never was. Whether it had something to do with the way his body worked or not was something he long stopped paying attention to. No need to care for a body that's going to be rotting away in no time. "Yeah, I'm fine." A cheeky smile formed on his face. Any display of happiness always makes people lower their guard and stop questioning things. It's a great loophole to abuse when people are worried about his suicidal tendencies. Except it doesn't work on Chuya. How annoying. I don't typically eat around this time of day, so my appetite isn't here. Uraraka took it for what it is. Todoroki eyed him slightly before going back to eating his cold soba, but Aida looked more distraught. Unacceptable. As future heroes we need to eat at, and there he was on his lecture. The bandaged teen drowned out the noise, opting to stare at his partner before his eye widened slightly, and before he knew it, the ginger got up and was yelling at the table to mind their business. Genuinely, what did those people do to cause such an outburst? They all looked a bit spooked and regretful as they sunk into their seats. Occasionally they made futile efforts to argue back with the ginger, but that only worsened the situation. A few people were paying attention to the drama unfolding, but most minded their business. Perhaps having Bakugo around caused them to not pay much attention to excessive yelling. Dazai, out of the corner of his eye, noticed the cafeteria's cook, lunch rush, walking toward the commotion, and Aizawa was beginning to get up too. Dazai, sit back down. The teachers will handle this, Ida warned, reaching to pull the brunette back down. Dazai didn't listen, swatting away his hand. The 16-year-old speed-walked over to the ginger just as a faint red glow enveloped him. Chuya quieted for a bit, perhaps to collect his thoughts. Taking in the moment of silence, the words of Kaminari telling him to chill and calm down. They were just joking, caused Dazai to roll his mahogany eye as he reached to take Chuya's wrist in hand. The ginger flinched, but he didn't have any time to question the owner of the hand he's grown to know, since Dazai began dragging him out of the cafeteria. Once the doors shut, Dazai let go of his wrist, turning to him with his arms crossed. Annoyance was evident in his eye. Just what caused this? And who does he need to scold? Or scare? Or both? What was that about? Dazai glared slightly, and Chuya scoffed, folding his arms and grumbled something under his breath. His muscles were tense. Chuya, don't make me call Anisan and tell her about this outburst. The ginger, the situation finally registering in his head, now looked embarrassed. Perhaps he overreacted. He should go apologize, Chuya. Fine, but first he has to get the mackerel off his ass. It started when we were walking to lunch. They kept making comments on things they had no business commenting on, and spewing false things about Yokohama. Please don't tell me you were about to wreak hell upon them over a city. Dazai face-palmed. What? No. I was peeved, but that was just the beginning of my annoyance. It amplified when they kept making comments about our relationship. Dazai now had whiplash, and didn't back off no matter how much I told them to quit it. Now saying it out loud, it did sound childish by mafia standards of getting on to someone, and Kyu would definitely talk his head off about it. But having strangers comment on things they wouldn't even begin to comprehend was irritating. They even began to sing a song about them kissing in a tree. How ridiculous. Sometimes it was easy to forget that the two of them are still children and will get peeved at things most adults would brush off. Sometimes it's easy to forget that Chuya is the more expressive of the two, and that emotions hit him as hard as a boulder being dropped from the Burj Khalifa. Maturing fast didn't take away the intensity of emotions after all. Dazai too felt peeved from the supposed cause, and would have had his own say in it, but his face didn't show it. Well, this is troublesome, Dazai mumbled before the cafeteria's door opened, and Aizawa exited with the Baka squad following close behind. Mind explaining to me what the commotion was all about. And Dazai, you can go back inside. Thank you for separating them. Dazai gave a slight nod but stayed put. Chuya silently thanked him. Aizawa sighed, not having the energy to deal with this. Mina looked embarrassed but began speaking nonetheless. We were just teasing him. Aizawa looked at her to continue, but her face turned to more embarrassment as the main source for the teasing was standing next to the ginger, eyebrow arched and a sharp gaze on his features. He did not look like the sweet goofball they've come to categorize him as, and we didn't listen to him when he told us to stop. We thought it was just all fun and games, you know? The same teasing I used against Uraraka when we found out her crush. Aizawa just sighed, rubbing at his eyes. These are technical strangers to you. Would you go up to someone you've never seen a day in your life and tease them? No. Now he turned to look at Chuya. And Chuya, please try to leave the situation and not cause a lot of commotion. It'll just make things more difficult to control. Right, my apologizes, sir. Chuya bowed slightly, cheeks red. And I apologize for blowing up at you guys. Nah, man. It's fine. We should have stopped the first time. Sero smiled awkwardly, picking at his nails. Kaminari nodded along, giving a thumbs up, while Mina gave a smile and an apology for initiating it. How anticlimactic, Dazai muttered. Lunch was now over with, and a good portion of it was spent outside listening to Aizawa lecture them about conducting themselves in respectable and forgivable ways. What? You wanted a death match or something? Chuya joked, walking toward their class. He was so happy this school wasn't like the ones he'd read books on, switching between classes every 90 minutes, and instead, only their teachers swapped out. Though that did mean it got boring to sit in the same place all day, so hero activities were something he started looking forward to. Yeah, kinda. Would have made the entire experience more exciting. A grin appeared on the brunette's face. His visible eye squinted slightly at the thought of mischief before his face fell blank. Chuya continued to stare at him from the brunette's right side, the side that feels more natural to stand on. Please don't mention this to Anna-san, only if you buy me crab. Canned crab. Chuya groaned, not understanding how the brunette could like something with a more salty, acidic flavor than fresh crab. Also, I believe we should get on the move. You know, looking for the traitor. Dazai whispered closely to Chuya. We've been here long enough to settle in and collect everyone's routines, so it should be rather easy. Chuya nodded his head. Right. This is a two-step mission. Protect 1A and drag out the traitor of UA. Chuya was rather displeased when Mori decided to inform them of the latter the day they were to meet with the principal. They only agreed to babysit, but what boss says, goes. Chapter 14. Entering the half-filled classroom, everyone turned to face them, sincere regret on their faces. It didn't, or rather, it shouldn't take a genius to figure out the reason for those looks. They felt guilty for not only mischaracterizing them but for also meddling in their business. Dazai Chuya Aida was the first to speak up, bowing at a 90-degree angle. Please accept our sincerest apologizes for the unjustifiable labeling we've added to your names. Dazai just cocked an eyebrow, while Chuya looked embarrassed the situation led to this. But most importantly, we apologize for meddling in both of your businesses. Yayorozu bowed her head too. A playful smirk embarked on Dazai's face. No need to be so formal, it's understandable something like this may have happened, so as long as this doesn't happen again, there's no issues. The words flowed like a stream, carefree, causing the deeper meaning to the string of letters to be missed. It wasn't something to brush off. No, it was a silent threat. Promise. Even, however, Dazai can't do much to the kids, since he's required to protect them. That doesn't mean he can't torment them. Regardless, I do believe we got off on the wrong foot. 2 transfers arrive and keep to themselves, leading to issues that could have been easily avoided, so we have to offer our own apologies too. Chuya couldn't tell what the brunette was getting at, but he decided to play along for now. Oh, no need, dude, seriously. Kirishima had a sheepish smile on his face. Hey, where was he during the conflict? Chuya thought. The last he'd seen of the optimistic boy was when they were walking to lunch. Then, he sorta disappeared halfway through the annoying teasing. The shark-toothed male whispered something to himself, perhaps how manly it was for Dazai to apologize, even if the brunette had no reason to. Also, I give my apologies too. If I didn't go to the bathroom, I would have been there to break you guys up. Oh, so that's where he went? Now thinking about it, he did mention having to go, but Chuya was too caught up with restraining himself. Chuya, too, apologizes for being suspicious of the manly man. A few more awkward conversations were made before the rest of the class filed in and sat at their seats. The rest of the day went by like normal, and there were only 2 more days until Izuku came back to class, while Bakugo still had 3. As everyone walked back to the dormitory, the class was sort of huddled together as if they were planning something. Dazai paid them no mind, while Chuya was anxiously looking at them. He should have never picked up any books about the high school experience. Once he gets into his room, the small collection will be the first to go. Regretting getting those books, are you? Chuya jumped slightly, elbowing Dazai in the ribs. Can it, asshat? You're the only one who wears hats, slug. And now they were bickering. An awkward clearing of throat was heard, and the duo snapped their necks to the sound. To get to know each other, we as Class 1A have decided to invite you both to our sleepover. Mina stood proud before deflating a bit at the dumbfounded look Soukoku had on their faces. Aren't sleepovers best had on weekends? Chuya asked curiously, turning to Dazai with genuine concern. I wouldn't know. And it was true. While he did go to school for 8 years, not many people liked him, and were even wary of him due to the bandages that encases his body, so sleepovers were a big no-no. Not that his parents would allow him to go either. Yeah, they typically are best held on the weekends, but since there's no need to call up parents, it's easier to host them, Mina explained, feeling sad as the explanation finally clicked in their brains. What do you say, Chibiko? Stop calling me that, damn it. Chuya glared at the mummified boy, turning to face the enemy of Barbie. But yeah, that sounds nice. Great. Again, I'm sorry for earlier. The girl now ran away to her personal group of friends, telling them the good news as they all cheered ecstatically.
Thank you and subscribe for more Bungo Stray Dogs fanfictions. Let me know what was your favorite scene.